week. But this is the Asian Coaches Summer Series 3, episode 2. And last week I don't know if you know him, Coach Jimmy, but Mahmoud Abdel Fattah, who's the G League head coach of the Rockets affiliate, talked about offensive rebounding and their championship run. And he's been kind of a great member of the Asian Coaches Association for 10 years as a D2 assistant and moved his way up. But obviously for me, being a Filipino American, to have such a star-studded lineup today, and Coach Jimmy and Helen, we're excited to have you. Just to talk about Helen, I just want to congratulate Coach Helen Tao, who's going to moderate this thing for us. Finished her first year as an assistant coach at Colgate University in the Patriot League after working her way up. She went through the gauntlet, was a student manager at Texas, video coordinator at Georgetown, director of operations at Princeton, and she's now living the dream as a Division I assistant coach. So congrats to you, Helen. Thanks for moderating today.
Thank you.
Just want to talk a little bit about Coach Jimmy before we start. Coach Jimmy played college ball here right next to me at Cal State San Bernardino and was known as a lights out shooting guard. He took those talents to the professional league in the Philippines, the PBA, and played for the Philippine national team, where he took them to heights never before seen, including the legendary clutch shot, which I'm sure you hear about all the time, Coach Jimmy, that won the silver at the FIBA Asia Cup in 2013 versus Korea, effectively qualifying us, the Philippines, for the World Cup in 2014. Now Coach Jimmy is crazy like the rest of us. He's made a transition to coaching and is working the Stockton Kings sideline, the G League affiliate of the Sacramento Kings. So without further ado, Coach Helen, Coach Jimmy, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach Mike.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, very excited about tonight. Got a chance to talk to Coach Jimmy last night just to connect a little bit, and his story is amazing. I'm so excited for him to share everything between his transition from player to coach, all of his experiences. So yes, Coach Jimmy, please take it away. And one thing, sorry. One thing, just a reminder, please be on mute if you can. And then if you have any questions, please just raise your hand or put it in the group chat. And at a good stopping point, I'll call on you to ask your question. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Helen, Coach Mike, Steve. It's a pleasure to meet all the coaches here, especially this being my first time on this Zoom call with all of you. Like Helen said, if you guys have any questions as I kind of go through my story and my experience, if we have some time, I did want to touch, I know Coach Mike mentioned that Coach Mahmoud touched on rebounding during the last Zoom. So I'll, kind of dive in a little bit into early offense and some things that I've done and things that I've seen around the NBA in my time here stateside. So first off, like Coach Mike said, I was fortunate enough to play in the PBA for almost 14 years. And in that time, for almost a decade, I was the captain of our national team. Amazing experience. As a player, getting a chance to play in the Philippines, having grown up here in the States, was very, very special just because I didn't know much about the Philippines before I went there. And then fast forward, and I was there for 19 years, 14 as a player and 5 years transitioning to coaching. And going to a country where basketball is the number one sport in the entire country, together with Manny Pacquiao. Again, it just made my experience there that much more special. After I retired, I was fortunate enough. Once I retired, the last club team that I played for, who's coached by a guy named Norman Black. He's a Hall of Fame coach in the Philippines, actually played at St. Joe's here in the States years ago. He's actually been in the Philippines for over 30 years. I'd known him from the time that I got to the Philippines. We became very close. And so I actually played for him my last year before retiring. And I was really fortunate because when I told him that I was done and I retired, I think a month before my 39th birthday. He asked if I wanted to stay on and basically do, dual roles as a player development coach, because we had two younger guards at the time, and at the same time stay on as an assistant coach. When you retire, you don't really anticipate, where the next step will be. At least I didn't. And so to be able to make that transition right away made it pretty seamless. Because it gave me a chance to still be around the team and work with the players who I just played with the season before, and then at the same time really learn what it meant to be a coach on the professional level, and really gain that perspective of being on the sidelines, and kind of have that broader perspective, as opposed to being on a player and you're worried about what's happening on the court. And so that year was great. I felt like it really just allowed me to learn so much. Again, going from a player who, retired and then jumped right into coaching, I was able to really see, Coach Norman and just his attention to detail. I think it's something that I saw early on. I think it's important for all coaches. Just the attention to detail in terms of breaking down video, in terms of his practice plans, in terms of, his game plans, for every, respective opponent. And just being able to see that, I thought that allowed my growth as a coach, to just kind of fast forward a little bit, being in all those meetings and any questions that I had, having his ear all the time. And so finished that year with him. And one thing I want to share with the coaches here, I remember I asked him, I said, Coach, this is my first time as an assistant coach at the professional level. What's the best advice that you can give me so that I can learn as fast as I can? Obviously, leaning on my experience as a player, but it's just different when you're on the sidelines. And he told me, Jimmy, watch video. And now going into my 6th year as a coach, I don't think I've watched more video these last 6 years than I ever did as a player. And I watched video as a player. But it was such a great learning tool. Being able to see the game on both sides of the ball. I thought it was an incredible learning tool for me as a young coach. And it's helped me making that transition from being an assistant with him for that 1 year, and then making the move to taking the head coaching position for Ala Pilipinas, which is a club team based in the Philippines. We played in the Asean Basketball League. For the coaches who aren't familiar with the ABL, the Asean Basketball League was a league that ran for, I believe, 11 years. Unfortunately, they stopped after the pandemic, but it was a great league. And I think it really showcased the growth of basketball, especially in Asia. It was a Southeast Asia based league, and it was a home and away format. So I was the head coach for a team based in Manila, but we played a home and away series against teams from Hong Kong, Macau, mainland China, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia. And it was amazing because, these club teams were supported by private companies, but at the same time were representing those respective countries, and having the home and away format was incredible. The turnout for the games was great. And, for me as a young coach, not only did it give me valuable experience, but it allowed me to see how much the game had grown globally, even in Southeast Asia, because even now, through the pandemic, Thailand still has their own professional league. Vietnam has their own professional league, and what it's doing is it's creating more opportunities for not just players and imports, but also for coaches to have more coaching opportunities to kind of expand their portfolio and explore possibly coaching overseas, which I think is great. And so I coached in the Asean Basketball League for 3 years. We were fortunate enough to win the championship my first season. I actually had, at the time, the league allowed 2 American imports, and I was fortunate enough to get Justin Brownlee, who in the Philippines is probably one of the best seen in the almost 20 years that I was there. And some of you may remember Ronaldo Balkman. Spent time with the New York Knicks and the Denver Nuggets. I don't know how I was able to convince him to come to the Philippines, but we had become good friends during the World Cup in 2014 when we were in Spain together, when he was still playing for Puerto Rico. And so to have those 2 guys was amazing. So we won that championship that first year. Fast forward to the second year, my team was doing really well. We get upset in the playoffs, and this is what helped. Helen and I talked about this last night. This is what kind of helped, I guess, make the transition coming back to the States to coach here. We were upset in the playoffs my second season as a coach, and as many of you know, for those of you who, for those of coaches here who played, when you lose, I wasn't far removed from being retired. So the first thing in your mind that comes to mind is, I need to get back in the gym and work on my game. But, realizing that I wasn't a player anymore, I had to figure out how I could grow and continue to learn as a coach. And I felt like I needed to try to reach out to someone who may be able to help me gain more experience. And so I had gotten an opportunity to become really good friends with Vlade Divac, who at the time was the president of basketball operations for the Sacramento Kings. We had gotten to know each other through FIBA and just different events, being overseas. And I was very hesitant, and I told Helen this last night. I really hope that young coaches will learn from my experience with this. I really didn't want to reach out to him. I spoke to my wife about it, and she was the one who kept encouraging me. Just call him, text him. You have his number, and just see. Ask if there's an opportunity to spend some time with them in the summer, maybe in the regular season, but it doesn't hurt to reach out. And again, for someone who'd been based in the Philippines for almost 20 years, it was really tough for me because I don't know, maybe I was afraid of just a quick rejection and then no reply. So I was very hesitant to reach out to him. But I'll never forget, this was 2019, Easter Sunday, and I decided to text him. And I basically, the gist of the text was, "Hey Vlade, it's Coach Jimmy Alapag from the Philippines. I just finished my second year as a head coach here, coaching a club team. But I want to continue learning and growing as a coach. And so I want to reach out and ask if there were any opportunities for a young coach to come and spend some time with you guys." So I sent the text, and honestly, for all the coaches here, I wasn't expecting a reply, at least not a reply anytime soon. But thankfully, it was a blessing because he replied probably 30 minutes later. And he reached out and said, "Hey, Jimmy, great to hear from you. Great to hear that you're coaching overseas. It'd be great to have you here with us and spend some time with us. If you're interested, we'd love to have you spend the summer with us." And again, having been based in the Philippines for a number of years, to have the opportunity to not only be friends with someone like Vlade, but get the opportunity to spend time with an NBA team was something that I couldn't say yes fast enough. And so fast forward, I spent almost 2 months with the team, and it was an eye-opening experience. I met a lot of great people within the organization, and it really just gave me, firsthand look at how things run in the NBA space in terms of just the efficiency of the workouts, the balance between, pushing players in their workouts and practices, but at the same time, also balancing recovery and making sure that players, stay healthy and are performing at their best. And again, having been overseas for so long, it was great just to be around that and to see it. And I remember the first day that I got to Sacramento, Vlade walked me down to the court, and Coach Bobby Jackson was there working out a few players. He introduced us, and he says, "Hey, you're going to be with Coach Bobby for the next 7-8 weeks." And so, during that first summer with the Kings, Coach Bobby and I were together literally every day. I was on the court with him. We would break down video together. We'd have lunch. We'd have dinner. I'd ask him a million questions about the old Laker Sacramento series back in the day. And we just connected right from the start. And so after that summer, I still went back to the Philippines to continue coaching for another 2 years. During that time, we continued to stay in contact. I followed the team. We talked probably a couple of times a month, and just following the team. And then obviously we all know what happened a few years ago with the pandemic. My family and I decided to leave the Philippines and move back stateside. And that's when I reached out to him and told him about the move. And at the time, coming back from Manila, my family and I moved to the Los Angeles area. It's where I grew up. It's where a majority of my family still is. And after we moved back in September of 2020, and unfortunately that year the G League had the bubble in Orlando, and it was a unique setup because it was only I believe 29 days, 16 games in 29 days for the G League teams, and how they ended up breaking it down. They only had 14 of the G League teams actually play in the bubble because the other 14 teams kind of begged off. Obviously, just I think for a number of different reasons, but I think we were still going through the pandemic at the time, and unfortunately, the Stockton G League team wasn't a part of that, and so that was disappointing. I was hoping to get an opportunity to be with the team. So I stayed in the LA area where was doing different workouts with just some college and junior college players at the time. And then after that NBA season, the Kings had a mini camp in LA, and Coach Bobby reached out and said that there would be in LA. It'd be a great chance to meet not only Paula Johnson, our GM for the Stockton Kings, but also Monty McNair, who was the new GM for the Kings. Spent 2 weeks with them, and it was a great experience. Got a chance to meet the staff and a lot of the players. And then after that 2 weeks, they both approached me and said, "Hey, Coach Bobby's, now that he's the new head coach for our G League team, we want to interview you for one of the lead assistant jobs." And being overseas for a number of years, I hadn't done an interview in 19 years, and so it was a pretty nerve-wracking experience. I didn't know what the process was like. I'm very confident in my basketball knowledge as a coach and as a former player, but just not knowing. I think many of us coaches, I think when you go through the interview process, I think that's probably the most nerve-wracking thing. I think being confident in our knowledge of the game, but just not knowing what questions they're going to be and how the process worked. But I went through about a week of the interviews, first with Coach Bobby and our Stockton Kings GM Paula Johnson. Had another interview about 2 days later with our director of basketball operations, and then finally one last interview with Monty McNair, the GM for the Kings. And after sweating through that week, was hired as one of the lead assistants for the team, and then we went right into Summer League of 2021, and it was great because that was my first opportunity to work with Coach Bobby, because he was the head coach of the Summer League team. We had a great run in Vegas, ended up winning the NBA Summer League in 2021, and then that led into coaching this past season the G League, and it was an amazing experience, the G League, for my first year. I was always curious to see what the gap was between players in the NBA and players in the G League, and being a coach there, how we can help those players grow and how we can help them improve, and ultimately give them an opportunity to make an NBA team, whether it's with the Sacramento Kings or any other team. And so just going through that process with our guys and just learning the ins and outs of the league and just how the movement, with the call-ups, it forces you as a coach to make a lot of adjustments on the fly. But again, it was an amazing experience. And, I'm really looking forward to, we just finished Summer League this past summer. And so, really looking forward to this upcoming season, which would be year 2 for me in the G League. Again, just, looking forward to continuing to learn and grow as a coach, and excited to see, what team we can put together for this upcoming year in Stockton.
Yeah, no, great. That's a great history and kind of journey that you went through. Yeah, and I love the fact that you keep talking about how you want to keep growing and learning. I think that's kind of, one of the main benefits about having a group like this, the Asian Coaches Association, is that, all of us here are trying to learn and grow, and having people like you come on and speak to us really, helps all of us become better. One of the things that I wanted to ask was, do you think the interview, whenever you're going through, with the Kings, was it more about the X's and O's, or do you think it was more about the fit, since you were talking to so many people? Because, at the college level, a lot of times it's, a head coach might want you, and then it's all about kind of the fit. And then sometimes it's more about the X's and O's. What is your thoughts?
I think, Helen, it's honestly a little bit of both. And I think for all of us as coaches, I think there's so many of us who have, great knowledge about the game, right? Because we're all fans of the game. We watch the game, we live the game. I know I do. But I think just as important is just building relationships and being able to, meet different people and being able to just, network in the space that you're in. And again, not being afraid to reach out and meet people in this coaching space. I think all of it plays a part in continuing to advance in coaching. During my interview process, again, it was such a nerve-wracking experience because I just didn't know how it was going to work. But again, I think I had a chance to reach out to Phil Handy, who I'd met a few summers ago, because I know he's been around the NBA for quite some time, and I asked him for advice about the interview process. And his best advice was, Jimmy, they've already done their background on who you are. They just want to talk to you in person, so just be who you are. And that kind of helped put me at ease, because he says, hey, they're going to ask basketball stuff, so answer how anybody with a great basketball mind would answer. And so that really helped put me at ease going through the process, because having going through an interview process after so many years, sometimes you can have a lot of different thoughts going into your mind, like, oh, what are they going to ask, what are they thinking? But I think just going into that whole process and just being confident in your knowledge of the game, and again, just being who you are as a person, and helping them understand that you're a person of great character with great work ethic, and kind of just let that shine through during the interview.
Great. Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really important thing to remember, is to be yourself during those interviews, especially whenever it can definitely be very nerve-wracking. Just to everyone, if you do have questions, please, ask them in the chat or raise your hand. I'm sure Coach Jimmy would love to answer anything that y'all might have questions for about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, Steve, you have a question. Please go ahead and ask.
Hey, Jimmy, first off, thank you so much for doing this, man. It means a lot. For those who are listening, I think we all can agree that we really appreciate your time and speaking. I get this question a lot, and I want to ask you, and I've told different people too, but there's that time you had that hesitation. You talked about being hesitant and reaching out to Vlade, and can you kind of talk about that? Because what was going through your mind? Why the hesitation? I think I have an idea, but I'd like to hear why you had that hesitation and having that spouse in that corner pushing you to send that text. But, without her not pushing you, but there has to be some type of reservation that you had. Can you talk about that? Because I get that question all the time with a lot of the Asian minorities that reaches out to me and like, hey, should I call or should I text and all? But I kind of want to pick your brain on that part.
No, absolutely, Steve. I think, I mean, for me personally, I at that time, I'm naturally not a person who likes to ask for stuff. I would rather do the work and let my body of work kind of speak for itself. And so asking somebody for an opportunity, it's not natural for me. And I think that's where a lot of the hesitation came from. And honestly, I think we continue as Asian coaches, we continue to try to lay down the groundwork for more Asian coaches to get an opportunity. But at the end of the day, as we are today, there's still not many of us. I think we're all continuing to strive to kind of just continue breaking down those barriers for all of us. And for me, my whole thought process, Steve, was, man, I'm here in the Philippines. I'm 14 hours away from California. Are they really interested in having an overseas coach, a young coach at that, around to learn from the team. When I just kept telling myself there's probably hundreds or thousands of coaches who reach out to them all the time, wanting an opportunity to be around the team and to be in that space and learn. And so, sometimes, you kind of let those thoughts get the best of you. And again, when I told my wife how I was feeling, she was just like, "Well, you just text him." And I'm, and again, it still took some pushing from her until finally I was like, you know what, if he says no, he says no. And, it was a blessing, because when I did finally reach out to him, I honestly, Steve, probably wasn't expecting an answer for at least 2 weeks, if not at all, because I figured, oh man, he's busy. At the time he was the FIBA Player Commission president, on top of, roles with the Serbian national team and just a million different things. And so I really just didn't think I'd hear from him. And so to hear back from him so fast was definitely a boost of confidence for me. And that's why, I share that story, because I would encourage other coaches who kind of have that doubt to want to reach out to someone they've crossed paths with, somebody that they've built relationship with, just to reach out, and just spend time and be able to get that experience, because it's really invaluable. I know it was invaluable to me. And now here I am, going on year 2 in the G League. And when I talk to Coach Bobby and coaches reach out to him, I mean, he has an open door policy for coaches who want to come and watch our workouts and come and watch our practices. And I think, it's great that he has that type of perspective in terms of allowing coaches to come and watch what we do and continue that growth as a coach, and continuing to just open those doors for any type of basketball conversation, amongst coaches.
Yeah, Jimmy, I would say there's a reason why they gave you their number, right? If you have someone's phone number, utilize it. I mean, it's so different from, being a resource and all that too. So no, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate you.
No, for sure, Steve. Thank you.
All right, Fafa, you have a question. Go ahead.
Hey, Jimmy. Great to see you again. And thanks for hopping on. My question was in regards to your relationship with players in the G League. The G League is obviously a place where players come in and out at any moment, any time. What's the best way that you found to develop the relations and trust with these players coming in and out?
Well, I appreciate the question. I think in the G League, coach, that's definitely one of the biggest challenges, because there's so much movement. I think players in the G League are obviously there for one reason, and that's an opportunity to hopefully get in the NBA, or if not the NBA, a great job overseas to continue building their resume and obviously, from a financial standpoint, to try to continue to make a life for themselves. For us, coach, we put a premium on building relationships with our guys first and foremost, even before we get to the basketball stuff, and getting a chance to learn about them and who they are, and at the same time getting an opportunity to learn about us and who we are as a staff. And really, I think first and foremost, helping them understand that we're there as the G League coaches and the G League staff to help them be successful, to help them grow, to help them improve. And I think by establishing that relationship first, as you go through the season, whether it's a call up or guys coming in, I think being able to have a more personal conversation with them, not just the player coach dynamic, but really as a mentor and someone who wants to help all these guys the best we can. And I think that was really helpful for us as a staff in terms of just dealing with the movement. We lost our 2 assignment guys in the middle of the G League season, because of trades in the NBA. And so again, there's a lot of different challenges coaching the G League, but I think first and foremost, I think if you build the relationship and just help them understand and let them know that, hey, we're here to help you. We're here to help you grow. We're here to help you improve. And at the end of the day, we want to build, a winning space and winning environment, not just for us in the G League, but also for the NBA team as well.
Yeah, so one more. How about in regards to the basketball aspect? Say you're about to play a game, a player leaves the team or gets traded within 30 minutes, 20 minutes of the game. Does the game plan change? Do you have any a few plan A, plan B, plan C game plans before you get into the game? Knowing
No, absolutely. I think especially in the G League, it's something that you have to be ready for because I remember we were in Vegas in the showcase, and there were just guys left and right getting call ups, and sure enough, one of our guys got called up, and we had a game that night. Um, and it's great. It's great for the guys who get those opportunities to get call ups in the NBA, but at the same time, it's still a great opportunity for the guys who are there to be able to showcase what they can do. And that's really what we try to encourage our guys that, whoever's here, whoever gets called up, whatever the case may be, there will be opportunities for everybody. And it's just important that every day, we put in the work, we put in the time, and we put in the effort so that when the opportunity comes for these players, they're ready to showcase what they can do, and they can put their best foot forward and hopefully, find success and not just have a good game, but have a good season.
Great answer. Great responses. When you talk about the building that player relationship, I think that's important at all levels. I mean, I know we talk about it as a staff, that, taking care and caring about the person first is always more important than the basketball piece, because that's how you build their trust for sure.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wanted to go back to what you said about, with Steve's question about networking and like reaching out to people. So you had mentioned you and Coach Bobby kind of talked during those 2 years that you were back in the Philippines. You just every couple, talked to him a couple of times. What were your conversations like? What did you reach out to him about? Like, was it always about basketball? Was it like, how did you find the balance of reaching out to him, to kind of build that, keep in contact, but not like feel like you're overdoing it or, making it not genuine?
No, for sure. Helen, we probably talked every few weeks, and I was following the team. And so, we would talk basketball, of course, at first. He would ask how my team was doing in the Asean basketball league, and I would say, hey, that was a big win the other night against whichever team, or man, that was a tough loss the other night. What happened, or what do you think about it? And so it was. I would say, Helen, at first, it was basketball conversation, but then it would also lead to, hey, how's your family doing? How your kids doing? And again, and like you said, just kept it as honest and as genuine as possible, because I think being able to build that relationship with him for the 2 months that we were together when I was in Sacramento, and just being consistent and staying with that again, for 2 years, it was always, some time would go by and I would say, hey, let me go reach out to Coach Bobby, or sometimes he would, drop me a text and say, hey, Coach, how are things going in Manila? And again, just continuing to build that relationship. And again, I'm incredibly thankful to him for, thinking of me for his staff. Because I know interviewing for the job, there were quite a number of people who, were up for it, and for him to be confident that I could be the one to add value and to help him on his staff. It meant a lot, and still does. And so, I always take the approach. He knows how much this opportunity means to me, especially being as a young coach, at this level in the States, after having been overseas for so long. But at the same time, I know what this opportunity means to him as a head coach of the G League. And so I don't take that responsibility lightly. And I pour all my energy and my focus into making sure that we can be as successful as we can as a team, and especially for him as head coach.
Definitely. Yeah. No, our job is definitely as assistants to make the head coach look good, right?
150%.
Awesome. Ryan, you raise your hand. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yes. Hi, Coach Jimmy.
How you doing, Ryan?
Yeah, this is. I'm from actually the UK. I'm just interested regarding the culture, how you keep a winning sort of that certain culture, despite having players coming in and out. Obviously, I'm here in the UK. I work for like a small high school, and they usually I only work with kids probably 1 or 2 years, and they move on to certain other places. So I was just wondering, how can you maintain that despite the high turnover of players moving in and out of teams?
No, it's a great question, Coach. I think first and foremost, we definitely preach to our guys, just the accountability aspect, because I think for us as coaches, we hold ourselves accountable in putting in the time and effort to break down video and scout the opponent and really try to put forth the best, the best plan for us to win a basketball game. But on their part, they have to be accountable to be able to come in ready to work, ready to do whatever they can, not just individually, but ultimately us as a team, coming in every day and improving and working on, whatever it is that we might be struggling with. But at the same time, keeping themselves accountable, but then keeping each other accountable as well. And understanding that if we want to have any type of success, it can't be done, by one individual, because the game of basketball is a team game. And so we constantly are encouraging our guys to play the right way and really keep them, keep themselves accountable, but more importantly, keep each other accountable. And just helping them understand that we're going to be there again to help in any way we can, being in the gym early, staying in the gym late. But accountability, coach, is definitely one of the top ones and top things that we preach to our guys. And at the same time, finding joy in this game, because especially, coach, at the professional level, there's so many different, variables that are going around, but it's important, like when you're in between the lines, to maintain a consistent level of focus. Especially in the G League, we want our guys to keep growing and improving. And I think you're able to do that when guys are coming into practice focused, and, whatever it is that's happening outside the lines, we tell our guys all the time, we'll do whatever we can to help you, but while we're in between the lines, let's come in and get our work done. And we try to create, as focused but as fun of an environment as we can. And I think Coach Bobby does a great job of doing that.
I appreciate that.
No, for sure. Appreciate the question.
Great question, Ryan. Colleen, you have a question? Go ahead. You're on mute, Colleen.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Hi, Colleen. How are you?
Good. Hi, Coach Jimmy. It's nice to hear you. I've got a two-part question, but first, where does a team practice in Stockton?
So Colleen, we actually practice at the old Kings facility in Natomas.
Oh.
It's about 5 minutes from the new Golden One facility where the Kings practice. We're about 5 minutes up the road. It's an amazing facility. We're very, very fortunate.
I've been there. Yeah. Is it the old practice facility? Because I know they're tearing down Arco.
Yes,
Okay.
which will be something new, Colleen, because going to practice and looking at sleep train and just thinking about all the memories that were in that arena, and they're literally, like, as we speak, in the process of removing it. So it'll be a different feeling going to practice this upcoming season, knowing that it's not going to be there.
And where do you play your games then?
So we play our games in Stockton. We play at the Stockton Arena, and we're excited because they actually had a semi-pro hockey team that played there last season, but they've since moved on, I think, closer to Calgary, where the main club is from. And so the Stockton Arena won't be the ice box that it was last year when we were there. So we're all looking forward to a little warmer arena this upcoming G League season.
Okay, so I live in Sacramento. I'm a native Sacktown person. So I moved back.
Nice.
And so Coach Jackson would allow people to come watch practice?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I've been in the practice facility over there. And okay, that was really just sort of like a side note. But so with you getting the job with the Kings, and you said there were literally probably hundreds of people that tried to get that job. What two things do you feel set yourself apart? I know you had the relationship with Bobby, but also you sort of maybe I guess for lack of a better word, you had a smaller or less open window of opportunity because you, these days, they say you don't look like any of the players. And, you know,
Absolutely.
being an Asian coach. And then so to follow up with that question, have you met with any type of racism being an Asian coach and definitely a minority coach in professional basketball?
No, Colleen, so to answer your questions, the first question, I think what helped me, obviously, I think spending time with the organization, that first summer, seeing them when they were in LA before I was actually interviewed for the position, I was able to see a lot of familiar faces, and had already built some relationships with the staff that was there. I thought that was a big help, and I think just my experience, both as a player, and even being a young coach, I had coaching experience as an assistant and as a head coach for a professional club team. I think all those helped me. But again, I don't know the exact reason why they hired me, but I'm thankful. I remember Monty McNair asked me that same question, Colleen. He said, what do you think separates you from the other people that were interviewing for the job? And I told him, I said, well, Monty, I don't know who else that you guys have interviewed. And I said, and with all due respect to them, I said, I know how I am. And I said, I'm a winner. That's how I approach my life. That's how I approach my career, as a player, as a coach. And, I carry that with me in everything that I do. And so I told them if I got the opportunity to be with the organization, I would pour all my energy and all my focus into bringing my winning experience to the organization and try to help it, continue to get better. And so I'm here. So I'm thankful. As far as your second question, Colleen, I've been lucky this past year. I haven't experienced any type of racism, but I do think going around the G League and kind of being around the NBA space for a bit, even though I'm not on the staff, it's very glaring that there aren't very many Asian coaches. And I think that's what gives me a lot of pride and pushes me to continue to try to lay down the best, groundwork that I can to encourage these other organizations to see that, wow, hey, this guy was overseas for a number of years and he's doing a great job with Stockton. And maybe that encourages other organizations to possibly hire another Asian coach, because, going through the season, there definitely weren't many. So I'm hopeful that we'll see more Asian coaches on both the G League and the NBA level.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy.
No, thank you, Colleen.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna take that winner thing that you just talked about, and I'm just gonna steal it, Jimmy. So
Hey, absolutely, Helen. Absolutely.
That's what I'm gonna say in all of my interviews, and that's how I'm gonna approach life. I love it. That. Anthony, you have a question. Go ahead.
Coach, appreciate you hopping on. For everyone, what Coach said earlier about just reaching out. Like, don't worry whether you get a response or not. I basically did the same thing. I don't know if you remember, Coach, but this past summer at the Summer League, reached out over Facebook Messenger and never connected, but you were great in terms of responding. So appreciate you for that. And I don't know how I have your number now too, so I'll shoot you a text
for sure.
But just curious, your role over there with the Stockton Kings, like what is it that you oversee? What is it that you're in charge of or responsible for? And then if you can talk about, some of those details. I wasn't on the call last week. I was out of town, or I guess out of the country, but anything you can share from a skill or a team development aspect. Yeah.
No, for sure, Anthony. So, my role last season with the Stockton team, I was helping Coach Bobby on the offensive side of the ball. But the great thing for us, as much of a challenge as it was, because we weren't one of the bigger staffs in the G League, it did allow myself and our other assistant Will Scott to really have our hands in a lot of different spaces on the team. Not only was I helping Coach Bobby with the offensive stuff, while Will helped on the defensive side, but we both did video. We both, did scouting. We both did player development. And so I thought that allowed us to grow as coaches and as a staff, being early with the guys, getting on the court with them. Coach Bobby assigned, the guards for me to watch video with. So after practices, before games, I would clip, certain things to help the players improve in whatever aspect of the game that they needed improvement in, or something that we have maybe talked about during our preseason evaluation, going into the season. So again, it was a number of different things that we were able to do. But again, I thought it was great. As busy as it was, I thought it was great because it allowed us to really just have our hands in a little bit of everything in terms of being an assistant.
Would you say there's any specific or type of concepts that maybe, you guys were different to versus a lot of the league? Well, again, Anthony, for the guys, the G League, this is something that we really encourage a lot of our guys, whether they're coming from college or coming from, some guys who maybe had spent a brief time overseas. We wanted them to make sure that they developed a routine for themselves, right? Because whatever routine that they build on in the G League, whether they go to a big club in Asia or a big club in Europe, or they're fortunate enough to make it to the NBA, they'll still have to carry that same type of routine to the NBA. In terms of just coming in and getting their work done, whether that was, whether that means a 30, 45 minute skill workout or staying after and getting, extra reps up. We encourage all of our guys to develop a routine for themselves, not just on the court, but also getting with our PT, getting with our trainers and developing, a consistent program strength wise, aside from what they did with the team, just so that, again, they gave themselves that edge going into games in the G League and ultimately, hopefully it's a call up or it's another opportunity for them somewhere else. And really just being consistent with that is something that we really tried to encourage all of our guys. Because at least for us last season, we had a lot of younger players for our team last year. So we really felt that was something important to stress to them, going into the year. Great, thanks.
No, appreciate it, Anthony.
Great question. Kenneth, you have a question. Please ask yours.
Oh yeah. Hey, Coach Jimmy. I just have a quick question. Like, as a
Sure.
player playing in the international level, playing in the PBA, what experiences have you gained that you would pass down to these players in your team now?
No, that's a great question, Kenneth. Obviously when, I remember, before the season, even before like summer league, I was kind of anticipating, I don't pass the eye test. I'm only 5'9", I'm only about 175 pounds, maybe 180 nowadays. So I don't really pass the eye test when, Coach Bobby or any other coach says, yeah, this is Coach Jimmy. He played overseas for X number of years. There have been many times where the guys who kind of look like he played, and it comes with it. But, I think, Kenneth, getting a chance to talk to the players and share with them, the experiences that I had playing in the Philippines, playing for our national team and playing in the World Cup. I just encourage all the guys, because I tell them, hey, for a guy my size, to have been able to carve out, a 14-year career overseas, if I could do it, and even Kenneth, I didn't share this with you guys, but, back before I ended up at Cal State San Bernardino, which is a Division II school, I took the scenic route out of high school. I went Division III, great people, didn't enjoy the basketball experience, decided to transfer, went to the JUCO level. And then after the junior college level, ended up signing my last 2 years at Division II. So, I really just tried to share with the guys and help them understand that, no matter what happens with a game, no matter how it evolves, right? Years ago it was a big man game. Nowadays it's a guard game and built on like the 3-point shot. No matter how much the game evolves, the one constant is always going to be the work. It's always going to be the hard work. Like none of these guys in the NBA, some guys that I've had a chance to see up close, like there's a reason why the best in the world and the great players that they are, there's a reason why they're great. It's not by accident. And I just try to encourage, the guys that I get an opportunity to coach that, no matter how this game evolves, now and into the future, the work never changes. And so I encourage the guys, be a great pro, be early, stay late, ask questions and be the best pro that you can be and learn as much as you can, because, Kenneth, like I look back on my career and I've been retired now for what, 6 years. It does go fast. And then, you hear that statement all the time that, when you're playing, the years fly by, but they honestly, like wholeheartedly do. And so, I myself, our staff, we encourage our guys, don't take this opportunity for granted, maximize it for all it is, get the most out of the game that you can, but no matter what, do the work. And I think, the more that we can encourage our guys to do that, we feel like we give ourselves the best chance to be successful.
Oh, awesome. Love it. Thank you, Coach.
No, appreciate it, Kenneth. Thank you.
We have another question, Matt. Do you feel free to ask yours?
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
How you doing, Matt?
Question just kind of regarding the G League philosophy. It was always kind of interesting to me because obviously, first and foremost, it's about development, right?
Yes.
And getting guys ready, as you alluded to. But you're also trying to win games too, right?
Yep.
And I feel like a lot of times that doesn't always align, right? Like in terms of developing a guy, like personal individual skill set, as opposed to like what needs to be done for your particular team to be its most successful. So I guess my question was kind of, how do you balance those two things, as you go through the season?
No, that's a great question, man. And again, it was something that I was able to kind of just see firsthand, right? Being in the G League for the first time, because you have these players who obviously have big goals for themselves, ultimately the NBA or, a big club overseas. And really, Matt, like we just tried to tell the guys that, no matter what goals you have for yourself, like part of us helping you develop as a player and helping you guys grow in your game, part of the development is learning how to win too. And I think sometimes that can get lost because it's just like, oh, just develop. But, as you develop a player and you see him improve, you also want to help him improve and know how to win and do winning things for a team going forward. So, again, we encourage our guys that, hey, as we're helping you individually, the goal is still for us to be successful as a team, because we tell our guys, if we can be successful as a team, everybody wants a winner on their team. No one, I don't think there's any coach who wants a guy who loses a lot. And so, we encourage our guys that as we're growing, as we're helping you develop, let's make sure we're playing basketball the right way. Because if you play the right way and we're playing together and the ball is moving and we're communicating at a high level, it gives us the chance to be successful as a team, and ultimately we'll give you guys a chance to be successful in whatever that next opportunity will be for our guys. So I hope that answers the question, Matt.
It was great. Thanks.
No, for sure.
Awesome. Does anyone have any more questions? Oh, all right, Steve, you got a question.
Hey, Jimmy, sorry. I'm going to take my shot. I know people are asking questions. I just want to chime in on something real quick. I don't want to try to monopolize it.
No worries.
You mentioned earlier about y'all encourage your players to develop a routine. How much of that do you guys have your hands on? Because, I think about our players and, with the NCAA, there's Mahmoud mentioned it last week about the transfer portal. We're basically a junior college team, and And we've got new players all the time, and they've got to develop a new routine at a new institution. But how much of that, especially y'all going through G League, and then they're out in and out. Do you guys have to meet with them to help them build that routine, because they may get lost in the shuffle too? And how much of that do y'all put into it and help them to develop that routine?
No, absolutely, Steve. I think for our guys, when we say to develop a routine, it's not just the on the court stuff. It's developing a routine to make sure that they're getting their strength and conditioning in, make sure that they're getting their treatment in, so that they're staying healthy, and whatever aches and bumps and bruises they may go through along the way, that they're able to be on the court. Not just being on the court doing the work, working on their game, but also watching video and being able to break down games for them, so that not only are we talking about it at practice, not only are we doing the work before and after practice, but then just visually they're able to see what's happening in the game. Oh, this rotation, look what happens when we get a pink touch, and just being able to provide that visual aspect for them to see the game, I think is all part of when we tell them to develop a routine, so that, again, taking care of your body, doing your extra work, being focused and locked in for practice, getting your reps in after practice, getting your recovery in, making sure that we're watching video. We feel like all those things will help our guys be as successful as they can. And I think, again, being able to do that and do that consistently gives, us as a team, and gives them, individually, the best chance to be successful, and whatever that next step will be for them. So that's where we try to break it down, in terms of their development. It's all aspects, not just solely on the court, but taking care of themselves off the court as well.
It's funny because when you said that, the guys in the G League, they have probably the same agenda as go pro, like to be in the league, in the
Yes.
NBA. And then at our level, it's funny when you said that. I'm not gonna lie, I text two of my players and say, hey, come meet me in the office tomorrow, because I need them to have that. I need a routine as well too, and developing that, because they don't have. I think at the college level, there's some that will play pro and some that just going through the motion. And so you want to be there, help them out, and kind of push them to get the treatment, to watch film, because I'm on the women's side, and not a lot of, they don't watch a lot of film like that. They don't watch the NBA or the W. So that's why whenever I was asking, that does help me out a little bit too, just kind of help them in those three areas of treatment, strength and conditioning, and film work and all. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
No, and Steve, before you go, just to add to that, I think it's not just at the pro level. I think even at the collegiate level, helping guys to understand, even in college, there's still a responsibility you have being on the team to do your best for the team, right? Like, if you're on the team and we want to be successful, everybody is held accountable for your contribution to the team, and taking care of yourself. And again, I get it, right? In college, it's a little tougher. There's just the natural environment of being in college. But again, if you want to be, a collegiate athlete, which, is something that needs to be, that guys should take honor in being a college athlete. I think, they're obligated to go out there and take that approach to give themselves the best chance to be successful, and at the same time give the program a chance to be successful. And I think it's only going to help them, on the court and even off the court, in their life going forward. So I think having that consistent, work ethic is great for anyone.
For sure. Thank you, man.
No, appreciate it, Steve.
Most definitely. I wish our players could listen to you talk about routines and all the little small details that you have to do well in life or in your day-to-day activity to be successful in all parts of, whatever you want to pursue. So love that stuff. Are you good on time, Coach Jimmy? How much time do you have?
Yeah, I got a few more minutes. I actually got to go pick up my kids here in a bit, but I got a few more minutes if there's any other questions or anything else that we wanted to kind of touch on before I go.
Do you mind in just the few minutes that you have, just talking about early offense, things
Sure.
that anything that you
No,
want to share
sure.
about that?
Again, for the coaches here, again, I wish that we can kind of take a little bit of a deeper dive into this, but I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that I've done as a head coach in terms of early offense. I know Coach Mike mentioned that Coach Mahmoud talked about the importance of rebounding. And I think when it comes to early offense, I think rebounding is a huge aspect of it. I think that's first and foremost. You can't get out in transition without securing the rebound. And so I'm sure you guys heard about that from Coach Mahmoud, from whoever was here for the last Zoom. But one thing that I've encouraged teams that I've coached, and we encourage our guys. We're big on pace and making sure that once we secure the rebound, our guards are getting out. And if we can get a quick outlet, a deep outlet pass, I tell my guys all the time that we want their back to the sidelines so that they can get a full view of the court as we're running in transition. So pace is really important. Once we do get the outlet, we encourage our guys. I've encouraged the teams that I played for. We want our wing guys really sprinting to the corner. And I know at the pro level, spacing is such a big thing. And we feel like by our wing guys stretching the floor all the way out to the deep corner, it opens up the floor, not only for bigs to rim run and get to the rim and possibly get an early seal, but it opens up those lanes for teams who have great guard play to be able to get an early attack, or maybe get into an early drag or a double drag screen and really just kind of get into the flow of the offense without having it to be so stagnant. And getting out in early offense allows you to really take a lot of pressure off your half court offense because you're able to score in transition. So, we really encourage our guys to take advantage of getting to the corners and providing that spacing to where guys have room to work with. I know one of our biggest things and one of the biggest adjustments that I see for our college guys making the jump to the pros, especially in the G League and even the NBA, is that a lot of the college players are used to cutting all the time. And we've had to remind our guys that, I know there's a lot of college programs that emphasize, the importance of cutting. But, on the G League level, so much of the NBA game is built on space and allowing guys to be able to have room to operate. And so, we really encourage our guys to, again, we want to get those sprints to the deep corner. We just feel like it opens up, the floor so much for us to be able to, whether it's an early push from our point guards, or, again, we tell our guys to really try to get the forward pass. Because if we can get layups or early corner threes, those are the shots that we'll take because they're the most, effective in today's game. But again, I think on top of that, Helen, I think in terms of early offense, once the ball is in the front court, and the floor is open, we want our guys to make quick decisions. Again, coaches, I know there's different, viewpoints on it, but teams that I've coached, we encourage our guys to really create energy with the pass. I've told my teams in the past that when we move the ball in the half court, you create energy, and we just have to be confident enough to understand that if we move the ball and create enough energy with the ball movement, the energy will actually find the best possible shot for us, and so, we encourage our guys to move the ball side to side. We don't want one guy driving and then kicking out and another guy to drive the drive. So we try to encourage the guys to, off a paint touch, off a kick, you're ready to shoot, you're ready to drive, or you're ready to move it to the next guy. Because we feel like, being in the half court, the longer that you hold the ball, the more you allow the defense to really be set, and it just makes it tougher for your half court offense or even your early offense to be effective. And so again, we encourage our guys to really again, if off the catch, if you can shoot it, you can drive it. If not, you gotta get off the ball and create another opportunity for the next guy. And last, Helen, I think a key thing in terms of early offense, is, and it's something that we've seen our players, have to adjust to is the conditioning aspect. Because to be able to get out and run and to be effective even in the half court, the cuts, the corner sprints, it has to be done with pace and it has to be done with speed, and you can't do that unless the players and the team are conditioned to run it that way and make each cut and make each sprint with purpose. And so it's something that isn't talked about much when they talk about early offense, because they talk about the rebounding, they talk about the pace with the forward pass or a guard push, obviously the spacing and the quick decisions. But another key element to it is the conditioning and making sure that the players are conditioned enough to run the floor, and be able to make that quick transition once we secure the rebound, being able to push the ball the other way. And so again, those are some of the things that I've done with my teams in the past, and it's something that we try to encourage with our guys as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I know you got to go pick up the kids. Any last words of advice, or anything that you want to, leave to share with the group?
No, first and foremost, again, to Helen, to Steve, to Coach Mike, again, I feel honored to be a part of this special group. I think all of us as coaches, like I've said, we're all continuing to try to grow and learn. And I think this space is great for all of us to learn from each other. Again, I'm just doing my best to continue to lay the groundwork to show organizations around the NBA, around the G League, that, a lot of us, have great minds and have a great and deep love and passion for the game. So, hopefully, I won't, there won't just be a few of us in the near future. There'll be more of us, on the collegiate level. Again, congrats to you, Helen, with as a D1 assistant. And again, I carry the label of being an Asian coach, very proudly, and I don't take it for granted. So, honored to be a part of the group. If I can help in any way, I'd love to be back and chat some more and kind of dive a little bit deeper into some of the concept stuff. But again, I appreciate everybody for being here and sharing some time together.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your time. Coach Mike, you got anything to wrap up with?
Well, thanks, Helen. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Future president of the Asian Coaches Association. Now, Jimmy, I appreciate it. The one constant is always going to be the hard work. I think that I took that away. I think that's going to be a separator for us, everybody on this call. So we just really appreciate you, what you're doing right now as a role model for the rest of us. Just so you know, we're all looking up to you. We're all rooting for you. I know you got a little bit of time off, but good luck this season. And thank you.
No, I appreciate it, Coach. Best of luck to you guys too.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it, Jimmy. Thanks.
All right, coaches.
Bye, everyone.
See you guys
Thanks,
soon.
Jimmy.
Steve,
Thank you.
see you guys.
Thank you.